Hey, everybody. Welcome to our town hall here tonight. Back in Oregon, it's always much more pleasurable being back home. Been very busy in Washington, D.C. over the last several months. It's been kind of crazy, actually, but a lot of good stuff going on. Working really hard in our committees. I'm on the Energy and Commerce Committee, as you all know, and been taking up a host of bills covering a wide spectrum of things. The healthcare arena, obviously, very concerned about drug pricing. So we've been trying to get a handle on that. Been very interested in how do we prevent the shortages of PPE gear and certain critical drugs that we need for folks back home here. Been very active in that regard. On the energy side, both with the ice storms we had here earlier this year into Texas, big interest in energy resiliency. That would play over into the wildfire piece too. We've had discussions on that. How do we prepare better for the future? The president seems to be very engaged in that too, which is very helpful. We've been very involved in that with our vegetative management work, and then with the disaster relief fund we passed last year with bipartisan support. Looking also at social media, an area of very big bipartisan agreement was that some of these social media giants ought to accept a little more responsibility for what they put on the media and how they monitor the media. Republicans and Democrats have slightly different views of what's important in that area, but we do feel, and I think it's fair to say, that they should be held to some of the same standards that broadcast media is supposed to be held to. The big things coming up now that we've got the COVID relief package through and starting to see that implemented is the infrastructure piece. As you know, the president has proposed a fairly extensive infrastructure plan. Members are getting to play a lot more in that space. The COVID bill, we didn't have a lot of opportunity to engage given the timeframes and the perilous nature of the situation a few months ago. But now we're thinking ahead as we start to see light at the end of the tunnel. Folks get vaccinated. The cases start to drop a little bit. That, what's the next stage? How do we come out of this very terrible pandemic in a stronger position, perhaps? I'd like to think Congress did its job by keeping the economy and a lot of people employed, or at least supported during the tough times. But now it's time to start ratcheting back our investments and focus a little bit more on what's really important to help private enterprise and businesses create those jobs that support our families here in Oregon. And the infrastructure is a big piece of that. So we're looking forward to that. There's not a ton of detail out there. I went to the White House, probably 3 weeks ago with some other members, and they seemed open to a lot of amendments, a lot of different configurations. The goal is to get something across the finish line. We talk about infrastructure forever, and nothing's really happened. And I feel pretty good with everyone talking about it now, and proposals being sent back and forth. That's a big difference from last 4 to 6 years. So I really feel we're going to get something pushed across the finish line at the end of the day. Last point of business that we did do in Congress before coming home last week was passing a national commission investigation into the events of January 6th, designed somewhat along the lines of the 9/11 Commission, trying to make sure something like that never happens again, and make sure that if there's an attempt to make something like that happen, that we're better prepared. Capitol Police and the folks in the metropolitan area there can respond more thoughtfully. Nice bipartisan vote on that, actually, at the end of the day.